And we're back for another Sports Gambling with Money Line Monaco live on a feel-good Friday. Hope you are in good spirits. We are off one of the better NBA games on national television. Knicks, Lakers, Natty TV, stars galore. Shout out Larry David, courtside, did not extend his feet. All while the Shaq episode, one of the most underrated episodes in television history. This was box office television. We send our best well wishes to Jalen Brunson. And for those joining me, I'm going on my 4th year hosting a betting show on MSG Networks called The Better Half Hour. We have a show later today. And we are not doing a deep dive, believe it or not, on the LA Lakers or the New York Knicks on the show today, nor on this Moneyline Monaco podcast. We're actually going to be breaking down and talking out. Now, this is opinion, but there's also a real fact. The Oklahoma City Thunder, as we sit here, get ready for all things the madness of March, the tourney before the tourney, everything locked up, Pat Riley-esque as far as what you can say. Can't say that word, those two words, as far as the tournament. But we're in all-out basketball mode right now, despite talking Aaron Rodgers yesterday. And I just want to point out to you, because the NBA betting market, not only is this a day-to-day live market, very crypto-esque compared to the NFL, a little more. NFL's a little more stock, slower drip. You obviously have line movement throughout the week, but we are every day in the NBA having to wait almost, in many cases, to the 11th hour to ink a ticket if you want to play winning basketball as far as bets night to night. And we're in a unique instance here, and I got the numbers, where some of the top NBA teams are also some of the top covers in the NBA. Now, and this doesn't happen very often, Cleveland and Oklahoma City are at the top of the against the spread list. Now, if you've been following Oklahoma City Thunder basketball, and that's what this podcast is about, I'm about to talk you out of the OKC Thunder. Out. They're the second best cover in the NBA to Cleveland at 40, 21, and 1 against the spread. Oklahoma City is 36, 23, and 4. That is utterly remarkable from an against the spread perspective. And it's 61%. Again, you want to see how I've aged like I'm in office over here, host a daily betting show for 4 years. I'm rounding out my first term. But what we're watching in today's NBA, most importantly, which I want to come on and talk you out of, is we're watching a little bit, and I don't want to call it fugazi, but this is a mail-it-in NBA regular season now. I'm in my early mid-30s. I've seen enough ball to tell you that what the NBA season has become, in the center of gambling, by the way, is a league you can make the case, at least first half of the season, these guys are not necessarily playing all-out, night-in, night-out ball. Now, you want to take a Tibbs Knicks starting 5? I'll put that in a one-on-one category. I watch every minute of Knicks basketball, and they are not a team that I'm explaining. Most cases, night in, night out, is what you're getting. You're getting a smorgasbord of pump fakes and flat-out objects in mirror might not be as they appear. Let's take a deeper dive. There's several teams, and you can make the case over the last few seasons, you've even seen this. It happens every year. And this is not an NFL thing. This is not a Major League Baseball thing, and it's certainly not a hockey thing. Those guys are dripped in DOG, and they're showing up and showing out every single night. The NBA, where everyone is fed, all right? It's what it is. Everyone is fed. Everyone is friends, except for a couple of outliers, and everyone is set. So the idea to the average human being that you're going to sit here as a fed person, multimillionaire, loaded, maybe your legacy's locked, maybe it isn't, but you're on one of these teams Let's call it a Clippers. Let's even call it a Lakers. We could call it a Nuggets. We could go over the Eastern Conference. You could talk a Boston Celtics, certainly. Whether you're a team recently or a team in general that's been to the mountaintop, you just approach the regular season differently. Now, when you're an Oklahoma City Thunder, when you're a Houston Rocket under Ime Udoka, when you're over there in Disney World land with Orlando, do I even dare say a Taylor Jenkins Memphis Grizzlies club? You are in a different frame of mind. You've won nothing. You don't have a decorated resume. You don't have playoff history. And so you have to prove your worth in the regular season. You have to scratch, crawl, fight, up standings, up talking points on national television. We're talking about a Thunder team here as we now get into it. That has been so unbelievably impressive in this season that it almost makes you believe they're going to buck history. But I'm here to tell you right now, you are sorely mistaken if you think, and I got it right here, and again, these guys are a little bit older than the beginning of the season, but you go back to when the season tips off, October, obviously, of this past year. The average age for an Oklahoma City Thunderman was 24 years old. 24.148 years old, to be exact. Now, if you follow my show, you watch how I think. I'm big on metaphors. I'm big on psychology. I'm big on life, how it imitates art, how it imitates sports. What we have here is fascinating, all right? You got an MVP narrative. Mr. Foul Merchant, they want to rip Jalen at 6'1" for going for fouls. At 6'1", but God forbid we upset the SGA homers of the world for going for free throws, all right? The reality is SGA is carrying a team that is nowhere near, according to history, what they need to be able to compete for an NBA championship. Now, the youngest team in the history of the NBA, and I got it right here, to win an NBA Finals at the ripe age of 24 years old median. You got to go back to your dads, your moms, maybe their high school days, pending when you came out, maybe even your grandparents, the 70s. You got to go back to the 70s. Shout out the late Bill Walton, who chose San Diego as his place of residence in his later years. 1976, 1977, Portland Trailblazers basketball. Youngest median age. Now, let's go top 10. Let's go top 10, okay? It's a lot of before we were born. There's one team in our era of basketball. One team. One. 2014-2015 Golden State Warriors. I'm here to rile up the entire hashtag Thunder Up organization. All right? Because what they've done, what Sam Presti, the rebuild, they're the better version of what the Nets on so many levels have actually done pretty well, which is reshuffle the deck and go for it. This was a team that, again, went for it. OKC went through a Chris Paul era. They went through a Carmelo Anthony and a Westbrook, bring in Paul George. Then they get the wherewithal to go out and get SGA. But let's just talk this out, all right? SGA's running mate, his right-hand man, Jalen Williams, an unbelievable two-way player, new all-star, welcome to the club, is 23 years old. So SGA at 26 years old, number one reliable in crunch time in a grown man animal kingdom of playoff basketball, which is not NBA regular season basketball. This is not college basketball, where if you're St. John's in my neck of the woods, you got to win every single loose ball, every single game on the calendar, every single moment you got to prove your worth. There are NBA teams right now. Let the pups run out their energy. Go outside, sweat it out, spits it out, work your energy out, and come back to base camp. While the veterans, while the older guys that have been there and done that, are maybe playing this a little more like, let's just get to the tournament. All right? You're looking at interesting, and let's take the Boston Celtics. Team management. Now, they've been through Zingas a little banged up this year, but you've seen unique rest from a Celtics team that Mazzulla, to his credit, who doesn't help my conversation. I was dead wrong last year on thinking Boston wasn't ready for it. But Boston had been to the NBA Finals and lost. All right? There's something to be said about that, which is a whole other conversation. When you get to the finals, you see, you feel greatness. You don't win. You come back to base camp, get better. Drew Holiday, Derek White, boom. You come over the hurdle. The best basketball story that's half a year away is the Oklahoma City Thunder, this year's team, falling short, going out and trading Kevin Durant back to the team that he started, and then they can move forward in NBA Finals history. Until then, let's keep the conversation going. 26-year-old SGA passes to 23-year-old Jalen Williams, who dishes the rock on a double tap wide to Mr. Reliable, Mr. I swear I'm not built like Gumby, Chet Holmgren. How we feeling at a ripe age of 22 years old? I'm not quite sure. Let's dish it over to Lou Dort. Is Lou Dort able to rent a car? He actually, just by months, is old enough. You sit here and you go, Lou Dort's got to be close to 30. He's 25 years old. Hartenstein is less than 400 days older than him. So your oldest guys, and don't talk to me about the bench, all right? Don't talk to me about guys that aren't seeing PT. They're so deep. They're so deep. In April, when you're playing the Nuggets on the road, and you got to rely on a 22-year-old or a 23-year-old that's barely an all-star, that's banged up, Jalen, Chet, nobody wins an NBA Finals on their own. You want to take Giannis from a couple of years ago when he beat the Suns, similar age, Drew Holiday, Chris Malcolm in the Middleton, different scenario. You can make a big case. That was a much different scenario. I cannot tell you at minus 135 to punch an Oklahoma City Thunder ticket when you got a Western Conference standings in early March getting to mid-March that's packed like the 405 in LA at 5:30 Pacific. You think I'm kidding? There's 4 or 5 teams that can take down the Oklahoma City Thunder in a best of 7. I wish I was kidding. The LA Lakers, top of mind. The Denver Nuggets, right next to them. You got to remind yourself, and this year they didn't even need Luka. The Mavs, before they Nico Harrison cooked themselves, have taken 3 of 4 against Thunder this year. 3 of 4. The Thunder didn't have enough last year against the Mavs. This is such a different style of basketball. You're not going to get an SGA double-digit free throw bailout. The Merchant, who you aren't even connecting the dots with. The guy gets so many free throws, it's disgusting. And he's not 6'1", all right? It's a much different conversation when you're the size of a small forward getting cupcake point guard calls. He's great. He's great. He also averages under 7 assists. So now you're talking about a point guard secondarily, because I really am onto something. That's not exquisite. That's not top of the NBA at getting his teammates involved. How many assist double-doubles does SGA have? Why am I getting nitpicky about this regular season with the Thunder? Because it's not going to carry over. Let's just say this. T-Wolves dance against the Mavs, Clippers, Kings, whoever the four teams are in the play-in. So now the Thunder got to handle a Western Conference Finals team, potentially, with nothing to lose, with a pissed-off Anthony Edwards, and you got to dance against them to start the playoffs. Then you got to deal with real defense with Houston, a seriously deep Memphis team that we've slept on all year, a Nuggets team that mentally can beat anybody this season. I like a lot of what I'm seeing out of Christian Brown. We're a long ways away from that championship Nuggets team. But in all seriousness, Jamal Murray, if he can get back to playoff Jamal, a little bit of a spurt there, you got to take the Nuggets as a decorated champion, as a serious threat. Then you got the one-loss Warriors team with Jimmy Buckets that we don't even know. We aren't even fully aware of how lethal that big three can be, coached up situationally on a short run. And on top of all of it, there's some other ruffle-the-feather teams that just don't make it easy. So we're sitting here with a team that, again, is very good at home, that is very good against the spread, that is deep. But it's the regular season, all right? 9-10 guys playing, real minutes, always down to 6 or 7. Crunch time numbers, close game numbers, SGA's getting away with multiple 40-point outings. What I'm basically concluding with is this. SGA, Shea, will have to play such above-the-rim, lights-out basketball for this Thunder team to win it all this year. We're talking about one of the greatest runs, if he pulls this off, in the history of the sport. Now, he is your MVP, but he's also averaging less than 7 assists most nights. He's your MVP, but he's also dealing with the youngest team in the NBA who's won nothing. He's your MVP, but he's also dealing with a revitalized, lethal Lakers, best in the West in the last 3 weeks team, a rejuvenated, revitalized Warriors team. And that doesn't include what Anthony Edwards and the Timberwolves could come out of nowhere and be. That doesn't include what a Rockets team, if a Rockets team just comes in, loses 4-2 to the Thunder in the second round, but makes them sweat a full 66 games, that's not nothing. It's not nothing. And there has to be something that is connective tissue with the youngest team in the NBA ever to not win a ring, juiced at minus 135 to win the West, and what the history of basketball tells you. The history of basketball tells you there's been one team that's under 25 years old over the last 2 decades that has climbed this mountain. We're also talking about LeBron James, the most decorated scorer in the history of the NBA, partnered with the leading scorer in the NBA playoffs at around 30.6, if I'm not mistaken, in Luka. It's just uncharted territory. So to end this soliloquy, am I anti-Thunder? Of course I am. I don't like the Thunder. I got no affiliation with the Thunder. I like to hate on the Thunder. Am I a hater? They're 26-4 at home. They're unbelievable. They're great for the sport. They're non-household names winning basketball. That's great. That's great for the sport. But if you think a 51-11 team, 51-11, who really has not gone through a lot of adversity this year, is just going to skate through the animal kingdom, the hierarchy of this Western Conference, in the cafeteria where the Thunder get their meals, they're sophomores. Okay? LeBron's a senior on campus. Jokic is a senior on campus. There are so many Steph Curry seniors on campus telling the Thunder to go get him some Napoleon Tots and a Powerade and say, put my tray above the trash. Thanks for getting my meal. Welcome to the league. That's what's going to happen in the playoffs, metaphorically. And we want to believe in the Minnesota Vikings with Sam Darnold. We want to believe in these regular season stories. They happen all day long. The playoffs are different. The playoffs are series. The playoffs are adversity. The playoffs are real defense. The playoffs are one on the road. Minus 135, one of the most egregious lines I've ever seen in the history of futures, in the history of betting NBA basketball. The youngest team in NBA history who's won nothing is laying 135 to win 100 after winning 3 series. That's a fleecing. You're better off doing your due diligence. Timing is everything. Is it the Lakers? I'm already on the Lakers. I've inked over 30 to 1 on Lakers and Warriors eons ago. Minus 135. I'm out of here. Moneyline Monaco. Fade the Thunder. Thunder down. To make a severance reference. Regular season Thunder are on the inside. They don't even know what it's like on the outside, where they're an Audi dancing with the Goliaths of the real world. That is playoff basketball. Absolute must-fade mission. It's anyone but the Oklahoma City Thunder. I will see you at the window, and I will see you on the next Moneyline Monaco live podcast. Until next time, don't forget to hug your mothers. Ta-ta real smooth, baby.